Arthur Ashe was born on July 10, 1943, in segregated Richmond, Virginia, in the shadow of a public park that would quietly shape his destiny. Brookfield Park, maintained by his father, Arthur Ashe Sr., was a modest recreational space reserved for black residents during the era of Jim Crow. The tennis courts there were cracked and weathered, but to young Arthur, they were a gateway. Growing up in Richmond in the 1940s meant navigating a rigidly segregated society. Schools, buses, restaurants, even sports facilities were divided by race. Arthur was small for his age, thoughtful, and introspective. His mother, Maddie, instilled in him a love of reading and discipline before her death when he was just 6 years old. Her absence left a quiet ache, but also a determination in Arthur to make something of himself. It was on those segregated courts that he first picked up a racket. Because of his slight build, power would never be his defining weapon. Instead, he developed precision, strategy, and a calm, analytical approach. He studied the game, observing angles and spins. He learned control. A local physician and tennis enthusiast, Dr. Robert Walter Johnson, who had also mentored future champion Althea Gibson, recognized Ashe's potential. Under Johnson's guidance, Arthur honed not only his technique, but his composure. He was taught that excellence would be his loudest statement in a country that often refused to hear him. As a teenager, Ashe moved to St. Louis to train and attend Sumner High School, gaining access to stronger competition. In 1963, he earned a scholarship to the University of California, Los Angeles. At University of California, Los Angeles, Ashe flourished both academically and athletically. He studied business administration while dominating collegiate tennis, leading UCLA to an NCAA team championship in 1965 and capturing the singles title in 1966. That same year, Ashe made history by becoming the first black man selected to the United States Davis Cup team. Representing his country abroad while civil rights battles raged at home carried profound symbolism. He wore the red, white, and blue with dignity, even as African Americans fought for equal protection under the law. In 1968, the tennis world entered a new era. The sport's governing bodies had long divided players into amateurs and professionals, preventing top talents from competing in the same events. That changed with the dawn of the Open era, allowing both groups to face each other in Grand Slam tournaments. That year, Ashe seized his moment at the U.S. Open in Forest Hills, New York. Competing as an amateur, he defeated Dutchman Tom O'Kerrer in the final to win the championship. He became the first black man to win a Grand Slam singles title. Ironically, because he was still classified as an amateur, he received no prize money, while his opponent did. Yet the trophy mattered more than the check. In a nation convulsed by the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy earlier that year, Ashe's victory offered a different kind of statement, quiet, poised, but powerful. In 1970, he added the Australian Open to his resume, showcasing his versatility on grass courts thousands of miles from home. But it was his triumph in 1975 that would cement his legacy. By the mid-1970s, Ashe was considered past his peak. Younger players with heavier serves and explosive styles were dominating. Among them was the charismatic and controversial defending champion, Jimmy Connors. Connors was brash and aggressive. Ashe was cerebral and measured. Few experts believed Ashe could defeat him on the fast grass courts of London. Yet Ashe devised a plan. Instead of matching Connors' power, he disrupted his rhythm with slices, lobs, and changes of pace. He kept rallies short and forced Connors into discomfort. On July 5, 1975, Ashe executed his strategy flawlessly to win Wimbledon championships in 4 sets. As he knelt briefly on the grass, the crowd at center court rose in admiration. He became the first, and remains the only, black man to win Wimbledon singles. But Arthur Ashe's story cannot be measured solely in trophies. Throughout his career, he navigated the complex intersection of sport and civil rights. Unlike some contemporaries who chose louder protest, Ashe believed in deliberate engagement. He criticized apartheid in South Africa and was denied a visa to compete there in 1969 because of his race. He continued to speak out, and when he was finally granted entry in 1973, he used the opportunity to advocate for integration and equality in South African tennis. He also helped found the Association of Tennis Professionals, ADP, giving players greater voice and bargaining power in the sport's governance. Ashe understood that change required structure, negotiation, and persistence. In 1979, heart problems began to threaten his life. He underwent quadruple bypass surgery. Though he attempted a comeback, his competitive career soon ended. Tennis had defined much of his public identity, but Ashe's second act would prove equally impactful. He wrote extensively, including the 3-volume work A Hard Road to Glory, chronicling the history of black athletes in America. He served as a commentator, educator, and advocate. He protested on behalf of Haitian refugees detained in the United States and was arrested in 1985 outside the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C., during an anti-apartheid demonstration. In 1988, Ashe learned he had contracted HIV, likely from a blood transfusion received during heart surgery years earlier. For a time, he kept the diagnosis private, protecting his family from media intrusion. But in 1992, after learning that a newspaper intended to publish the information, he chose to speak publicly. With characteristic composure, he announced his illness and established the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS. He sought to combat stigma and promote education at a time when fear and misinformation about HIV/AIDS were widespread. Once again, Ashe faced adversity not with anger, but with purpose. His health declined steadily. On February 6, 1993, Arthur Ashe died in New York City at the age of 49. Tributes poured in from around the world. Presidents, athletes, activists, and ordinary fans mourned not just a champion, but a man of conscience. In 1997, the main stadium at the U.S. Open was named Arthur Ashe Stadium in his honor, the largest tennis-specific stadium in the world. Each summer, as players walk onto its court, they step into a space bearing the name of a man who expanded the meaning of victory. Arthur Ashe's legacy endures because he understood something fundamental. Sport is both game and stage. On the court, he was elegant, strategic, and disciplined. Off the court, he was thoughtful, principled, and courageous. He resisted injustice without surrendering to bitterness. He carried himself with a quiet confidence that challenged stereotypes and broadened horizons. He once wrote, "Success is a journey, not a destination." For Ashe, that journey began on segregated courts in Richmond and traveled through the grand arenas of the world. It moved from championship trophies to humanitarian causes, from the roar of Wimbledon crowds to hospital rooms where he spoke gently about hope. He did not rely on thunderous declarations. Instead, he believed that dignity itself could be revolutionary. Arthur Ashe changed tennis. He changed perceptions. He changed lives. His story is not simply about winning matches. It is about using opportunity as a platform for justice. It is about grace under pressure, courage in illness, and integrity in triumph. In the end, his greatest victories may not have been the ones etched on silver cups, but those written in the quiet transformations he inspired. In children who saw possibility where barriers once stood, in athletes who understood that excellence and empathy can coexist, and in a world that learned, through his example, that strength can be both gentle and unyielding. Arthur Ashe remains a champion not only of sport, but of humanity.